In a weekend that, honestly, just turned into a nightmare for the Ducati Lenovo team, Pecco Bagnaia's struggles at the Indonesian Grand Prix left both the Italian rider and his team absolutely reeling. Following a dominant performance at MotoGP just a week earlier, the reigning two-time MotoGP world champion experienced, well, one of the toughest weekends of his career in Mandalika, and Ducati has now vowed to protect him as he navigates through this emotional and professional low point. Ducati's team manager, Davide Tardozzi, opened up after the race about Bagnaia's mental state, emphasizing that his rider's well-being is now the team's top priority. "It's clear that Pecco is devastated right now, more as a person than as a rider," Tardozzi told Sky Sport Italia.
Welcome to GP Time. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.
"We want to protect Pecco and his emotions. At this moment, if Pecco came with tears in his eyes, it wouldn't be a surprise. He's a fast rider, but he's also a very sensitive guy." The comments came after a deeply frustrating weekend in which Bagnaia qualified only 16th, finished 14th and last in the sprint race, over 13 seconds adrift of the next rider, and crashed out of 17th position on lap 9 of Sunday's main race. His problems were compounded by the emotional toll of seeing his factory teammate, Marquez, suffer a shoulder fracture after being taken out by Marco Bezzecchi on the opening lap. It was a weekend that stripped Ducati of both factory bikes before the checkered flag. The dramatic reversal of fortunes was especially shocking considering Bagnaia's form just 7 days earlier in Japan. After taking pole position and winning both the sprint and main race at MotoGP, many believed Bagnaia had turned a corner after a shaky start to his 2025 campaign. But in Mandalika, the confidence evaporated. The reigning champion struggled with grip, corner entry, and braking stability, describing the experience as, well, impossible to understand. "I really don't know what happened," Bagnaia admitted in his brief post-race statement. "After what happened last week, pole position, 2 wins, I came here with good expectations. This track was never easy for me, but I always got good results. Last year I won the sprint and finished 3rd in the main race. But this time, I just couldn't find the same feeling." Bagnaia went on to apologize to his team for the crash, acknowledging his frustration, but also his effort to keep fighting even when the pace wasn't there. As Ducati braces for a crucial final stretch of the season, the mood within the camp is one of cautious solidarity. A mixture of empathy for Bagnaia's emotional strain and determination to lift their champion back to his best. Because for Ducati, this weekend wasn't just about a bad race, it was a reminder that even the strongest riders are human. Do you think Ducati is right to protect Bagnaia emotionally after Mandalika, or should the team push him harder to rediscover his competitive edge before Phillip Island? The MotoGP paddock held its collective breath on Sunday afternoon, as Marquez, fresh off securing his 7th world title, suffered a violent crash in the opening lap of the Indonesian Grand Prix at Mandalika. The newly crowned champion was dramatically taken out by Marco Bezzecchi at turn 7, sparking immediate fears of a fresh injury to his long-troubled right arm, the same arm that derailed his career for several years. While Ducati celebrated clinching the Riders', Constructors' and Teams' championships on Saturday, completing a rare triple crown with 4 rounds still to go, the mood within the camp turned somber less than 24 hours later. The incident occurred just seconds into the main race. Bezzecchi, fresh from a dominant sprint victory, attempted a tight inside move at turn 7, but clipped Marquez's rear wheel in the process. The contact launched the Spaniard into the gravel, sending his Ducati GP25 cartwheeling and leaving Marquez clutching his right shoulder in visible pain. The 31-year-old was quickly attended to by the circuit's medical team before being transported to the medical center. Although initial X-rays at the track ruled out a complete fracture, the suspicion of a broken collarbone or ligament tear prompted Ducati to fly Marquez immediately back to Madrid for a full CT scan scheduled for Monday afternoon. Ducati team manager Davide Tardozzi, speaking to MotoGP.com, confirmed that the injury appeared serious but urged patience until medical confirmation arrives. "Unfortunately, Marc had a bad crash and it seems there could be a break in the collarbone," Tardozzi explained. "But we have to wait until tomorrow afternoon in Madrid and see what the scans will say to know exactly what's happened." I hope that it is less than what we see here. But it seems that something happened. The Ducati boss's tone reflected both concern and cautious optimism, emphasizing that Marquez's condition would only be clear after further imaging in Spain. Speaking before his departure from Indonesia, Marquez himself offered a sobering update, hinting that the issue might be more ligament-related than bone. "I again hit the right arm. This time it's the collarbone," he said. "It looks like the collarbone ligament is broken, but let's see, we need to understand everything in Madrid." Marquez's expression and limited arm movement in the paddock reignited fears among fans and media that he may have also dislocated his shoulder, an injury he has endured multiple times before. On previous occasions, he was able to pop the joint back into place, but repeated dislocations can lead to chronic ligament instability, something no rider wants, especially in the heat of a MotoGP title defense. This incident hits particularly close to home for Marquez, whose legendary career was nearly derailed by the catastrophic right arm fracture at Jerez in 2020. That injury required 4 surgeries and sidelined him for over a year, triggering a spiral of physical and mental battles that he only fully overcame in 2024. Now, with his comeback complete and the 2025 championship already secured, Marquez's focus is on recovery rather than risk. "I'll listen to the doctors and then try to come back as soon as possible, but inside the recovery time," Marquez assured. "The important thing is to recover well. We already achieved what we wanted this season." As the dust settled, attention turned to Marco Bezzecchi, who immediately sought out Marquez after the race to apologize for the incident. The VR46 rider admitted fault and expressed regret for ending Marquez's race and potentially his next few rounds. Tardozzi confirmed that Bezzecchi had apologized twice, acknowledging his mistake but insisting that the crash was not malicious. "My point of view? Marco did a fantastic weekend until that first lap," Tardozzi said. "He was the fastest man here, but I think he must think a bit more and wait. He was too much in a rush. The race is not won in the first lap. I think Marco made a mistake, but he already said sorry to Marc, twice. We look forward to seeing both guys as soon as possible back on track." Marquez's medical scans in Madrid will determine whether he can participate in the Australian Grand Prix at Phillip Island in 2 weeks' time. If the injury is confirmed as a simple collarbone fracture, surgical fixation could allow him to return within 3 to 4 weeks. However, ligament damage or a shoulder dislocation could extend his recovery to 6 weeks or more, potentially ruling him out of Phillip Island and Thailand. For Ducati, the focus now is on supporting their champion through recovery both physically and mentally after a crash that sent shockwaves through the paddock. "Marc has proven time and again that he's a fighter," Tardozzi said. "We know he'll come back stronger, but now, the only priority is his health." Question for fans. Do you think Marc Marquez should risk returning at Phillip Island if his injury is only partially healed, or should Ducati play it safe and prioritize his long-term recovery?